Family lasts forever.
Sanctuary. The Sanctuary.
Each one of us has got a special place where we feel safe and we can, if ever happens, we're never alone. Sanctuary is a place for that exists for us all. And I've came to realise that my sanctuary is the home videos that my dad left behind. I remember telling my for home videos was, and I was trying to work out, and still am, why he made such an issue about it. The more I think about it, maybe everything's been leading up to this moment. And anybody can show up on the sanctuary. Welcome to
The Sanctuary.
I realise that everything I become is because of family and my upbringing and where it started, which was Brodick Road. In 1973, my dad decided to build a house. He wasn't building it for himself because he met somebody special. He was born in 1952 in Pennan, while the person he met was my mum. She was born in 1954 here in Fraserburgh. My dad had just passed his test and he was going about in his car and he seen my mum. And the rest is history. Some call it chemistry, some say fate. Whatever it was, they lasted together. So my dad liked cars and maybe impressed her with a car. He probably did. However, in order to get the fancy car and video cameras and even end up getting a house, you had to pay money. So my dad was basically marking it when he left school on a Friday, and by a Sunday he went away fishing, which I'll speak about later. In 1973, I didn't even exist. However, he's left so much clues in each of the videos he's left behind for me, like just now. In 1971, my mum was pregnant and she would go on to have her first daughter along with my dad, which was my sister, Karen. I've always gotten on pretty good with my sister, but growing up she was older than me and maybe a bit more rebellious. And I was the opposite. I was the quiet one. So my mum and dad had decided to move, and they was building this house in Brodick Road, which was ready in 1975. And it was such a great house growing up in. There was always people in the house at certain times, like my grannies and grandads. And you never really miss home until you've left it, and as you grow older you start getting back and you realise when you look at a house that you used to live in and growing up in, how special and amazing it was. The house in Brodick Road, it was quite big, 3 bedrooms, and you had a big sun lounge window with a patio out the back. There was a living room, kitchen, and there was this bit upstairs which was never really used for anything more than like a playroom. By 1972, it was my mum and dad and my sister. And then they added another addition to the family, which is far I come in 1975. And although Brodick Road is no longer my mum and dad's house, even when I visit, it still reminds me of so much great memories, which will never leave me. My mum and dad were very house-proud people, always liked to keep their house clean, especially my dad. Like the windows would always have to be cleaned, the car and all. And it was possibly off his own mum, which was my granny Watt. My dad had 4 siblings, a brother and 3 sisters. When it comes to my mum's side, she had another 5 siblings in her family, which you'll notice later on in the chapters. And just because you have a nice house, it doesn't come without the meaning of life and loss and tragedy, which I'll speak about later. And something happens when you become the baby of the family. You're treated like a pet. And here I am, no clothes on, and obviously I was adored. and I can tell it just by if it's happening. Me like my sister, she was a rebel. And it's so funny that as you go through life, you grow into the person you're meant to be and you want to be, but it takes a long time to get there sometimes. I always lead different paths. But you notice it's always your family and your elders that make you become a person, because you see them having fun and how they act, make you want to become that kind of person. When my granda Watt passed away, 5 days later the Watt family experienced tragedy when my granny Watt was killed in a car crash by a speeding driver. On my mum's side, when she lost her dad, that was through old age, and also her mum through old age and her. And it's a natural progression in life. As you get older, you start to realise no abdy's around forever, and all the people you took for granted, once they leave, if they're special enough, they'll leave a real mark on you for the rest of your life. In 1976, I started walking, and then I was into a thing. Toys, I love toys, and I still do to this day, and I didn't hide it. It's like fun. Toys is meant to be played with. And if you stick around for one of the chapters later on, you'll find out what I mean by toys. But you can only play with toys so long before your mum wants you out the house. So in 1981, I was sent to South Park Primary School. And my dad even filmed me on my first day back to South Park Primary School. I really enjoyed South Park. It was a great school. I was never a troublemaker at school. I was quite quiet. I did get the belt once, but that wasn't my fault. I mean, I've always really been out of trouble through my life, but I always just push it to the line. Sometimes I can get off with. Brodick Road was great though, and the family members like my grandads and grannies and aunties, they made me feel, you just felt loved, you can. There was never this dispute with folk speaking to each other really and stuff like that. That was also partly due to the neighbours being such good neighbours, and they've had a long-standing relationship with my family since the Brodick Road days. And here's me with James Reid, which was Bundy's older brother. He died in an accident. Modern families nowadays have become pretty complicated, while back in the day growing up, I just kent my mum and dad has been married, and that was it. Everybody always says my dad loved his cars, always had a nice car. The reason for that was because he worked hard, and he was quite a lot of the time he wasn't actually around in the house when I was there. It was me and my mum and sister. But the reason for that was he was away making money, and if it paid for these cars was the fact he was at sea. He was at fishing. He left school when he was 15 on a Friday, and by Sunday he was away with his dad on his first boat fishing. And so my dad's fishing career lasted for at least 35 years being at sea before he decided to move on to going offshore. Many people that ken him for being on the Andra Tate for at least 15 years of his career, which will be coming up in chapter 2 next week.
The Sanctuary.
So, join me next week and you'll find out lots more about how my dad made his money in his career at the fishing. And how amazing that over the next few chapters you're about to see not even my footage, but it was my dad's that he left behind. Until next Sunday, bye.